Hello everybody, happy Thursday. Wherever you're tuning in from, if you're really watching this, I hope you're having a beautiful day. It's crazy to think that this will be our last live Q&A for the year. It's gone by so quickly, but it's been so nice getting to redo this again this year. Today we're going to have the absolute pleasure of chatting to Michaela from Thrifter. She was one of our Trail Treasures competition winners for this week. She's also an incredible reseller. She basically formed her entire life to try and live with zero waste and zero plastic, and she makes her business as sustainable as it can possibly be. And she went out on the Garage Sale Trail last weekend and had an absolutely brilliant time. So we're going to be chatting to her about that. Who else went out last weekend? Did you find anything good on the trail? I only got to the 2 sales that I did the Instagram live for on Saturday, and they were both great. I loved them, and I got a few little bits and pieces for me, which was really nice. But yeah, hopefully this weekend I'll get to a few more sales. It seemed like there were a lot going on around the country. Unfortunately, Adelaide seemed to have gotten rained out, so that was a bit disappointing. Oh, thank you so much. I love to op shop. That's really sweet of you. I'm so glad that you guys have enjoyed what I've been doing this year on the campaign, and that you appreciate my hard work. It means a lot. It's been a really fun campaign, and I'm just can't believe it's almost over. Crazy. I've got Michaela here. Just a moment and we'll get started. Yeah, I hope there is a bit more sunshine this weekend for you guys too. Brad and Jazz there in Adelaide. Hi, Michaela.
Hi, Gabby. How you doing?
I'm good. It looked beautiful and sunny where you were on the trail last
It
weekend.
was fantastic. Yeah, we had amazing weather, which I can't say for much recently, but yeah, it was fantastic for the weekend.
Yeah, the sunshine turned out just just in time for Garage Sale Trail.
Certainly did.
Yeah, beautiful. So for anyone that hasn't seen you on our Instagram last year or hasn't seen you on Instagram or YouTube before, why don't you just give us a little brief intro into who you are and what you do?
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for having me today. It's really exciting to jump on with you, Gabby. I love everything that the Garage Sale Trail does and stands for. So for myself, my name is Michaela and my business name is Thrifter. And I have a secondhand business that I run from my home. So I mostly sell on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Depop, Poshmark. But eBay's the big one for me. That one's my main marketplace. And so I love going garage sailing for myself. I'm a very thrifty person with our lifestyle, but also for my business, finding treasures that I can pass on to new homes to be appreciated again. And I like passing on things to the right person. So that's why eBay is such a great marketplace to do that, because the right person gets matched up with the right thing that they're looking for, and it stays out of landfill for just that little bit longer.
Yeah, and I find that if you're something secondhand, it's generally a more mindful purchase as well. So if you can connect the item with the right person that's looking for it, they're generally going to take better care of it for longer.
Yeah, it's very appreciated.
Yeah, fantastic. And such a great great thing to do as well as a business, and something that you can do independently, which is fantastic, and work around your life and your hours and what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously, for I don't know, can I say it on the line, or is it just a secret still?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Who don't know, Michaela is pregnant, which is very exciting, and that's as a mum who also resells, it is one of those businesses that you can form a family around. It's really nice to have that flexibility and be doing something that's going to make the planet a little bit of a better place for your future kids.
That's exactly right. It's very exciting. So yes, my first bub is on the way. He'll be here February, and it's exactly where I wanted to be in my life with bringing children into the world, that I wanted to be working for myself from home, with all of that flexibility and freedom. But it's the coolest thing that I'm going to be able to teach my child about buying secondhand, reusing things, appreciating things, repairing things, and also passing things on that we don't need to other people that need them as well. And also, like, gifting secondhand is great. There's nothing wrong with it. There's still some people that there's a bit of a stigma around that, but secondhand is not second best. It's still just as good. So, really looking forward to, bringing a little eco warrior into this world.
Yeah, absolutely. And you took your future little area out on the trail last weekend, which was very exciting. Already getting them
Yeah.
getting the payment for the trail, which is good. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about your experiences on the trail and like you've already touched on a little bit of why it's important, but why it's important for you to be involved with.
Yeah, so my experience from this first weekend was fantastic. Definitely the weather helped. It was such good weather, but it was so packed. It was busy at every single sale I went to. I went to 9 sales altogether, I think. And found sort of a bit of everything that's usually on my list and a couple of things for personal as well. And it was just great to see people taking advantage of the opportunity of the garage sale trail. So to have that marketing behind them to get their sale out there further, there were so many people that took advantage of that to do a garage sale this particular weekend. And when you've got more people jumping onto that, then more customers are going to jump onto that too, because it's worthwhile having that morning blocked out to go treasure hunting. So yeah, it turned out to be really, really good for our area. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'll get to this weekend. We've got some home projects that we've got to knock out before Bub gets here. But I absolutely loved my trip this time. It was definitely significantly busier than like a general weekend, which was great.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for those who maybe not have seen on the feed, Michaela picked up a huge bunch of amazing items, some of which being vintage cameras, vintage film cameras, and video cameras, which looked awesome. Are they some of your best finds that you found on the trail? Because you shot the trail last year as well, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, so that was definitely some of my best finds. The vintage film cameras is something that I always look out for. They're great sellers usually. So finding 3 of those in one spot was awesome. And then also finding that rare Cluedo special edition game, that was really cool. I haven't gone through it to see if all the pieces are there yet. But even if I just part it out, then that's still cool. And to be able to pass it on to somebody that needs the pieces for their own game. And yeah, what did I find last year? Gosh, I can't even remember, but I do know that I got a lot of personal items last year, where this year it was a lot more stock for my business and then a few little goodies for Bub.
and do you find that, like with Bub on the way, are you trying to refrain from buying things for yourself and just focusing more on shopping for the business and shopping for Bub? Or are you still doing a little
Yeah.
well?
It's pretty much all business and Bub at the moment because I'm feeling so good and I know that that can change any day. So again, my business is totally flexible, so it's going to be great no matter what happens, but nearly at 3rd trimester. So, I know that I'm going to get a bit more tired and stuff. So trying to knock out as much for work at the moment and also, yeah, picking up any little cute items that I find for Bub now, secondhand, yeah, because it might not be so easy coming.
Yeah, it is a little bit more difficult when you're trying to maneuver the pram and all the thrifting and everything else at the same time. And I know that people say just like strap the baby into the baby carrier and go for it. But like stuff is heavy. Vintage like clothing is heavy when you when you're filling a basket. It can be
Yeah.
quite expensive when you're thrifting, so it's not always as easy with a Bub. But I suppose if you start them early, at least by the time they hit like mine are 10 and 9 now, they're at least used to me dragging them along to find treasure, so that's always nice.
Yes, I'm hoping that, yeah, going op shopping is like an adventure for them as well.
Yeah, it will be. And then, like, hopefully, unlike my youngest, he always conveniently gets his wallet to buy him whatever he finds when he's thinking about that. And you touched on a really good point as well, is that, you know, so much of the baby and kid stuff that comes up, they barely use, they barely wear. It's all in really good condition. Yeah, they still insist on buying one brand new stuff whenever they have a baby. And it
Yeah.
just creates a huge cycle of waste when in reality, kids grow out of things for very long. And babies don't really, like, they're not running around and like rolling in the mud and stuff. So like a lot of the baby clothes in particular tend to last a lot longer than toddler clothes. Have you found it easy to find baby stuff secondhand?
Yes. It's been really fun rummaging through the op shops, and there's definitely you sort of got to find the good stuff. But in my particular op shops, just because it's quite a small section, the population here is aging. It's quite an older population, so looking at a lot of the Instagram accounts of fellow resellers, and oh my gosh, their children's section in their local op shops just like blows my mind. In my local op shops, it's kind of, you know, a couple of small baskets. That's about it. So, but I'm actually surprised how much I've found in that, because that's exactly right. Like, there's so much that it doesn't get worn for very long. And so I can really, yeah, pick out that good stuff that I know will be really appreciated when I get to it. And then I'll be able to pass it back on to somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you're a seasoned thrifter, a seasoned garage sale shopper. Do you have any garage sale shopping tips for any of those who haven't shopped on the trail before?
Yeah, so probably my number one tip is really basic, but it has changed the game for me, is take boxes into your car. So we've all know about taking reusable bags, and that's definitely something to do as well. But I find taking boxes and putting empty boxes into my car, it's a lot easier to fill the boxes either at a garage sale. So if you're buying a whole bunch of books or a whole bunch of toys, just whack it all in a box. And then also carrying it out of your car back into the house. It's so much easier to carry a box in than a bunch of bags. And also, if you find breakables, it's a lot better to put them in a box than just a plastic bag. So that's one, probably the first one that sounds so simple, but it's been such a game changer for me. It makes my life so much easier. And then also just keeping a running list on your phone, like on your notes or something, about stuff that you need. So if you're finding, oh, we kind of need this, like a new dining setting or some more utensils, you know, whatever it is around the house, just keep that list on your phone. So whenever you go out to an op shop or go out garage sailing, have a quick look, like before each sale that you rock up to, and then it's fresh in your mind. Sometimes it can be really overwhelming. You know, some garage sales are really structured and well set out. Some are just like, you know, they've dumped it out the front. And so you want to have a clear mind going in, okay, I need this, this, and this. And if you find it, then my next tip would be get it then. Because there's so many times where you see it, you go, just get it then, because you're going to regret it. You're going to think about it for the rest of the week.
Yeah, that's happened to me as a seller on the trail so many times. I've had people come to the sale, they've looked around, they've walked away in 15 minutes, come back, and then the thing that they wanted was gone. And it's always the face drops, they look so depressed, that little endorphin rush that they were getting from finding it in the first place has completely disappeared. That endorphin rush can be dangerous too, because if you don't have, like you said, a clear list in your mind or on your phone or wherever of what it is you're looking for, I find that if some people, when they see how cheap everything is, they just want to buy it.
Mm.
Can also be ill-advised, like it's not mindfully, which generates more waste later on, which is not good. So
Yeah,
having is a really good way to get around that, I find.
definitely.
Yeah, we don't want any buyer's regret.
No.
And I'm asking another question, but if anyone has questions for Michaela, she's got such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to garage sales and reselling, and also doing a reselling business really sustainably. It's one of the strongest, like strong ethoses in her business. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to pop them in the comments, and I'll ask Michaela while we're here. But I was going to ask this, well, as a reseller, but also as someone who is and environmentally conscious, like what are some of the things that you're looking out for on the trail?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So for me, when I go out, it would be anything on my personal list, like I just detailed. Like I keep a personal list all the time. So I always, yeah, keep a lookout for that. And then for selling through my business, I always keep an eye out for film cameras. That's like, I rarely check film cameras anymore. If I see them, I just grab it. Vintage toys and vintage books. So vintage children's books, sorry. It's really surprising how much vintage children's books certain ones go for. And then vintage toys as well. So looking on the little plastic tag to actually find a year date, that'll really help. If there's no year date, it's probably quite new. And then the other thing that I look for my business is clothing. So usually branded clothing, vintage clothing, anything that stands out to me as interesting, and because I sell a lot of clothing. So they're the three top ones that I'm always looking out for, like front of mind for my business. The other thing I look out for is there's always a free box at a garage sale. Like everybody does it. It's just stuff that they can't be bothered with. And I'm always looking for packaging for my items. So when I'm sending items, sending breakables, if there's anything that I can use as fill or void or to pad an item, you usually find it in like that free, just junky stuff, tissue paper, old newspapers, boxes, all those sorts of things. And then also have a look in the free bin anyway for if there's anything that you need, and if you can sell it on, because I mean, if it's free, then you can make any profit on it. So yeah, they're the things that I look out for the business.
Yeah, and you'd be amazed at how prepared people are to give away their boxes and their paper and wrap, reused bubble wrap and all that kind of stuff. They really someone else than have to throw it out. So that's
Yeah.
a good way as a business to be able to package your items safely and without using any new resources.
Yep.
Yeah. Neil would like to know, what's the best item you found and for how much?
Oh, it's probably the Pentax film camera this week. I've got to say, like, it's really cool looking, like, just to begin with. It's just so cool. It's so vintage and awesome. It came with the original leather case, the original strap. It's got two lenses, and the second lens is just next level. This lens just blows my mind. I'm not a photographer, but I know this lens is amazing. So that one I paid 25 for, and it should go at least for 100. But with the second lens that I've got with it, I'm going to be aiming for higher than that. So that's probably the best find. Yeah, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. There's been some good ones, but yeah, that one, I'm still like high on like the find.
Yeah. Like that's just, it blew my mind when I saw, for those of you who don't know Michaela, if you haven't seen at the beginning, Michaela has a YouTube channel, and I just watched her garage trail video that she put up today. And when they were saying like, oh, it's like $65 for what the three cameras, I was like, How, like, that's just, it just blew my mind. It was such a good find. Absolutely incredible. And they looked like they were in really good condition. So I think you definitely get a good return on that one. So that's nice.
Yeah, so I had a look at the Pentax one specifically today, and the battery compartment and the film compartment, mint.
Yeah.
I was so happy because it's very rare. You open that battery compartment sometimes and you got to hold your breath because it's like, is it going to just fall out or crumbly and green? But it was good condition.
They obviously took really good care of it. It's just sitting in a cupboard doing nothing for 30, 40 years.
Yeah. Yeah. This guy obviously worked in the industry. He had some really specific stuff. And if you look at the YouTube video, I show as well a whole bunch of other stuff that he had that was very specific and for its day, like really fancy technology. It was just too heavy and bulky, and I just didn't know enough about it. But I'm sure there's going to be people watching the YouTube video that are going to be like, oh, you could have flipped that for however much. But, you know, sometimes I just, if it's too much to deal with, then I'm happy with those three that I got.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Sometimes, like, you can have something that in theory should be flipping for a lot, and it might just sit there for 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
And the right person comes along, and you know, that's just, it's especially for big bulky items like that, that's taking up a lot of shelf space, a lot of mental space, and a lot of as well. It's just better to pick up stuff that you feel confident about, and move that on, I think, and leave it for someone else. Someone else can look in and pick up a bargain and resell it if they choose.
100%.
Beautiful. And I was going to ask as well, how did you get onto your like plastic free journey? So I've seen a lot on your YouTube as well where you know, you talk a lot about how you're trying to like save as much as you can, dispose of as much as you can responsibly, and not use it at all. Like, where did that start? Because
Yeah, so for me, when I started reselling, I was really frustrated by sending a secondhand item that I was saving from landfill, passing on to be loved again, but sending it in a plastic satchel. It just frustrated me because it felt like it was just sort of counterbalancing the good that I was doing. So I just sort of seeked out as much as I could. So when I started probably over 4 years ago as just a side hobby, it was really hard to find plastic-free packaging. It just wasn't mainstream. Nobody talked about it. It was very hard to find in Australia. So over in America, there was certainly more options. And so I was like, no, I'm going to make this my goal. I need to be 100% plastic free in this business for my own conscience. But it just made sense to me. Like, why save something from landfill but put it into a brand new item that's just going to end up in the bin? So firstly was looking at the plastic free satchels. So home compostable satchels, making sure that they are certified home compostable. And the best brand that I've found is Hero Packaging. They are just the leading brand in Australia, and they're now going over into the American market, but they are by far the best in terms of satchel quality. But also just as a business, they are amazing. They're really leading the way in ethical standards and eco-friendly business models within Australia. And then I looked at, okay, that's great for sending clothing or anything just little. What about when I have to send something bulky or breakable? Okay, everybody just resorts to that bubble wrap. Now, firstly, I have to say, reusing resources is the first step. So if you're finding bubble wrap, you know, from another resource and you're reusing that bubble wrap, that's the best first step because you're keeping it out of landfill for that little bit longer. But for me, I wanted to go 100% plastic free just for my business. So I started looking at, okay, what can I use instead of bubble wrap? So the first one was old newspapers. So local news agencies, local small businesses, my local community centre. They get newspapers all the time, and they don't sell them all, or they don't pass them out, all of them. So each month when they get the new round, the old round just goes into the recycling bin. And that's okay. It's going to get recycled. It's not going to end up in landfill, but I can reuse it and keep it out of that system and in the circular economy for a little bit longer. So most of the bulky items or breakable items, I wrap in newspaper, and it does a pretty good job. Like, you just ball it up, scrunch it up, really pack it in there, void fill. The other thing is just finding other odd packaging around. So we mentioned that, like free boxes, have a look in them for odd random packaging that you could use at garage sales. But I also found some really good rolls of corrugated cardboard from a local furniture sale place. So they use it, that wraps around, like when they sell a lounge, it wraps around the little feet of the lounges to protect the wood. And also other places like window and bathroom stores, places that are getting in those huge breakables, they are getting rid of that corrugated cardboard all the time, every day. They're getting rid of it. It's just going in their bin. So my advice for anybody looking for free packaging and eco-friendly packaging or completely plastic-free packaging is ask around the small businesses in your area, because they're just throwing it out every single day. And so it's free for you, but it's also probably helping them out. If they're filling up their bin every day, they're paying for that waste management. Most of it they have to pay if they need to go up a size in a bin. So that's helping them out. So go ask. A good place to start is, like, local news agent. They are throwing out newspapers all the time. And then, yeah, like I said, furniture stores, any other small retail business that you can think of. So the next thing I looked at then was sticky tape. So, of course, every cardboard box is plastic free, but then we wrap it in that good old sticky tape. Now, sticky tape is not recyclable. And even though bubble wrap was recyclable until last week, it's now not, because there's now no avenue in Australia that recycles soft plastics like bubble wrap. It's going to landfill now. And so the same with sticky tape, there's never been a way for it to be recycled. So I contacted my local council, I contacted the local waste facility, and they said that the way that cardboard boxes are processed, it gets pulped down and the sticky tape gets separated, goes to landfill, and then the cardboard gets recycled into new product. So again, that's another avenue of waste that I just wanted to completely wipe out of my business model. So I looked at paper sticky tape, and that's been a lot easier to source now. Anybody can source it. There's quite a few businesses doing it in Australia now, and it's water activated paper tape, so really easy to use. It's really strong, so I find it sticks and it's there within seconds. It's fantastic. So that's another avenue to wipe out that plastic as well. So anyway, if anybody's looking at reducing their waste within their business, whether it's just a general small business within their daily life, or if you are a reseller, then look at those different avenues. So you've got home compostable satchels for all your clothing. You've got newspaper and other fill stuff from your local businesses in your area. And then, of course, paper tape instead of sticky tape.
That's so good. And Hard Rubbish to Dollars said very inspirational, and I have to agree, because it's just not something we talk about, especially in the small business community. We're not many small businesses are actively talking about the ways in which they're trying to be zero waste. So it's super inspirational to hear from someone who's doing it and someone who's passionate about the thrift community and garage sales, and really embodies all of that in your values and in your business.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a tough journey. It's been a long journey, but it's I've got a system now and it just works. And I can't stop talking about it.
Well, good. What it's like, you're basically giving everyone the cheat code. Like, you've done all the hard work, and now you're being like, guys, here's the hack, here's the cheat code. You don't have to struggle like I struggled at the beginning. And it's just really so generous of you to be able to share that information with everyone.
You're welcome.
On that note, I think that's where we're going to call it a day. We don't have any more questions coming in. So I just wanted to say thank you so much to Michaela for joining us. Be sure to check out Michaela's Instagram. It's eco_thrifter, and also her YouTube channel where she shares all of these tips and shows her thrift journey. It's eco-thrifter as well on YouTube, isn't it, Michaela? No underscore?
It is. No underscore. No.
So, and we'll put a link in our stories as well so that you can tap on to Michaela's YouTube and it'll take you straight there. So be sure to like and subscribe and follow along for more. And I will see you around the Garage Sale Trail socials, no doubt, and follow the journey as well. Thank you so much to everyone who joined today. It's been a real pleasure being able to do these with you this year. I'll probably see you on the weekend anyway, and I'll talk to you all soon. See you, Michaela.
See you, Gabby. Thanks for having me. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.